Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you for joining us. My name is, I see some new faces. So, my name is Nityananda Pran Das, and I've been coming to IIT since 2003. I meet every week. And in the previous semester, I was there at Krishna House. Our annual Rath Yatra is coming up on Saturday. And so, my wife and I are coordinating this festival. So she and I, we have a son, so one of us has to stay back. So unfortunately, I'm not with you in person there, but we tried something this way to, I guess, project me on the wall, and I can get to see some of you. Next week onwards, I'll be there in person, so we can have more interaction. Right now, our interaction is basically you looking at a screen and I'm looking at a camera and computer screen here. But anyway, thank you for coming. I see some of you are new, others are from the previous semester. We'll try to keep this short for today just because it's very inconvenient to be on a screen, but still. So, as part of Vedic Vision Society's programs, we're calling this the Search for Happiness. And actually, it is said that if we ask any one of us why we do anything, the answer is we'll be happy. Only a person who's really foolish will say, I am doing something because I like to be miserable. I like something that is giving me pain and misery. In fact, even in pain and misery, one tries to find some pleasure. For example, like smoking a cigarette. It has a lot of pain and misery associated with it. It is hurting the lungs. It is all deadly chemicals, nicotine, etc. But with that misery, there is some idea of happiness. So they want it. I have a ghost in the house. And so every living entity, actually, it doesn't matter whether it is a worm, a bird, an animal, a reptile, human being, great devatas, it doesn't matter. Everyone is looking for happiness. The question is few things. First of all, we don't understand the definition of happiness. Many persons, if I were to ask you, can you define happiness? What might you say? Any ideas? Any suggestions? If I were to ask you, what is happiness? What would you say? Would you say anything at all? Sitting quietly is happiness?
Something that gives pleasure to the senses.
Something that gives pleasure to the senses. Okay. Anyone else? Does it one? Anything else? Some people say it's a feeling. Do you agree? Agree? Disagree? Nothing at all? You're watching a movie, very important that you should not be disturbed. It's a feeling. Okay. Okay. Happiness is an experience. It's an experience of certain kind of joy, and that mostly is experienced when our senses, skin, eyes, nose, tongue, ears, when they are in contact with something that gives us, like Animesh said, pleasure. Now, for different people and different living beings, pleasure is very relative. What is pleasure for one is punishment for another. Anyone gone to Six Flags Great America for the roller coaster rides?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes. So one of the roller coaster slides, they reorganize all your organs inside, and people like it very much, and they say, yeah, yeah, one more time, one more time. For some, it is pleasure. For some, it is punishment. Or everything is relative. What is happiness? Like there's a famous proverb: one man's food is another man's poison. Right? What may be happiness for me may not be happiness for someone else. Suppose my car broke down, I'm sad, my mechanic is happy. There is no doctor or no mechanic in the world who will say, oh, I pray that no car breaks down today. All cars should work properly because they want to fix cars. Correct? But if they fix cars in such a way that no car gets spoiled ever, then they're out of business. They are happy when a car breaks down. They don't tell you that. They'll tell you, oh, that's very bad. But inside is very happy. Oh, that's good. Job security. So one man's happiness is another man's punishment or poison. So we'll come back to this relative nature of happiness. But there is a story in Mahabharata which I want to tell you. It's a very instructive story. And when you hear the story, I'm going to ask you what are some of the interesting points or lessons we can derive from this story. Okay? So it's going to be interactive at best, as best as we can do it. So far, you guys really suck at being interactive because not one of you is responding. But I have to somehow see if I can make you interact with me because when I look at the screen, I see this is what I see. So, okay, a little laughter is better. Okay, so let's try to see if we can make it a little bit more interactive for me. There was a man who was walking in a forest, and as he was walking, he was enjoying the trees and the air, the birds chirping. Suddenly, he heard some noise, as if someone is walking behind him. You know, when someone steps on dry leaves, you hear that noise. And he said, someone is behind me. He didn't want to look behind because he's in the jungle. So he started walking a little faster. And however fast he was walking, at that speed he could hear the footsteps behind him. So he became worried. He started running. And he could hear that someone was running behind him. So naturally, when he was scared that someone is pursuing him, you know, you don't pay so much attention if you're running like that. You don't pay attention to where you're going. You know, you can bump into a pole, bump into a tree because you're not paying attention. So he was running and running and running and not paying attention. He fell into what's called a blind well. A blind well is where the mouth of the well is covered by some growth of leaves and vines and grass. So you can't tell that there is a well there. So as soon as he stepped on it, he fell into a blind well. The blind well was as wide as his arms can go. So as he was falling down the well, he put his hands to stop the fall, and somehow he was able to stop himself. It was dark, and when he looked up to see what was following him, there was a fierce tiger following him. So he said, "Arey Baba, jaan bachi." So then how long can he be hanging like that? He thought he will go down to the bottom of the well, wait there for some time, and then slowly after the tiger goes away, he will climb up and go. As he was climbing down the well, he heard a noise, a sound. So he knew that there was something at the bottom of the well, a snake. So he can't go down because he'll be bitten by the snake. He can't go up because there's a fierce tiger. So he was hanging by something, and suddenly that hanging felt wonderful, like, ye theek hai. Any of you from Bombay? Raise your hand if you're from Bombay. Raise your hand if you've ever seen how people get into a train in Bombay. When you get into such a train, if you catch that train, I can't tell you how happy people are they got that train. Although they've been crushed so hard, their bones and all their everything they've eaten is all crushed inside their body. But they're very happy they didn't miss that train. So sometimes inconvenience is actually quite good. People feel happy about it. Even if they have to smell someone's armpit because they're all putting the thing like that, you have to smell someone's sweat and they're touching you so close, you still have to get to office. Before you get to office, you get another sweat bath. Everyone touching you is all sticky, it's like, ugh. Anyway, we all went to school and college like that. But anyway. So he was hanging and he said, this is not so bad. So because the well was dark, naturally he was looking around and he saw two little lights on this side. And he saw two lights on the other side. They were twinkling. So he was wondering, what are these lights? So when he was squinting and looking closely, he saw that there were two mice. One was a white colored mouse and the other was naturally a black mouse. They looked at him, they smiled at him, and they started nibbling at the ropes that he was holding on to. And he suddenly realized, if these mice, they bite away the rope, I'm going to fall down right into the bottom of the well where there's a deadly snake there. So now he became suddenly anxious. And in that anxiety, he didn't know what to do. He was looking up, trying to pray or whatever, looking up, I don't know what to do. At that time, something fell on his cheek here. So if you were hanging like that and something fell on your cheek or near your cheek somewhere here, what would you do? What would you do?
Ignore it.
You want to know what it is? Go ahead. Show me what you do. You want to find out, right? Because you are curious what it is. So the guy put out his tongue and licked that thing, and suddenly it was the sweetest raw organic honey from Whole Foods. Not from Whole Foods, but it was raw organic honey. And when he saw that the tiger was standing there, and above the tiger, on the branch of a tree, was a nice honeycomb that was dripping this nice raw honey. So one drop fell here, and somehow he had to put his tongue out and lick it, and it was like, so tasty. And it was so tasty that he put his tongue out and was waiting for the next drop to fall. And while waiting for the next drop to fall, he forgot about something. That there are these mice biting on the rope. And as they're biting on the rope, his imminent fall is not too far away. And so once in a while, a drop would fall on his forehead and he would say, I just missed that opportunity. Sometimes it would fall directly into his mouth and he would be very happy. I was very lucky. Sometimes it fell on the cheek that he couldn't reach. Sometimes he got... So in all of this, sometimes he got the honey, sometimes he didn't get the honey. And so Mahabharata describes such a situation. Now I want to ask you, what do you think the story conveys? Any idea? what's the tiger? What does the tiger symbolize or signify?
Our past.
Huh?
Our past. Sankesh.
Your past?
Sankesh.
No. No, not your past, but good try. Anyone else?
Problems.
Problems.
Problems. Why problems?
What?
Huh? You can speak in Tamil if you like, I don't care. Why is the tiger symbolizing our problems?
Maybe because it was following us like.
Well, problems don't follow us. We run away from our problems. That's what it is. Because we are running from our problems. Very few people want to stand and face them. But so we're running from our problems. The tiger. And what does the snake signify?
Death.
Death. Very good. Okay. And the hanging from a rope. What does the rope signify?
Our life.
Our lifespan. Okay? Our lifespan. And some people have thick ropes, some people have thin ropes, some people have, the string with which you stitch your button, very thin rope. And these two mice, the black and white mice, they signify night and day.
Oh.
Yeah? So, night and day, they're slowly taking away our lifespan. Although every year we say happy birthday, what we don't tell people is you're 1 year closer to death. And we celebrate happily, we're cutting the cake, right? It's actually closer to death. So the black and white mice, they represent night and day. As we sleep and we are working, time, whatever time span we have, that is reducing. And in the middle of all of this, it's a very precarious condition. There are problems waiting to capture us. There is death at the bottom, and day and night, time is passing away, slowly biting at our lifespan. And in the middle of this, what does the drop of honey signify?
Pleasure.
Happiness.
Happiness. Happiness. And we want to taste that happiness in the middle of all of this situation. And once in a while, we get to taste the sweetness of that happiness. Once in a while, it's just a miss, Has it ever happened? You and your friend got job interviews. He got the job and you came to IIT. Possible? It's almost there and you missed it. Like a bus or a train or you're playing a game of cricket or whatever game, you almost thought you'll win it, but you lost it. It happens. It's like the drop of honey on the forehead. It's there, but you can't reach it. You feel like, But the sweetness of that honey is such that it makes us forget the condition we are in. So we didn't invite you to Krishna house to tell you how horrible condition you're in. That was not the purpose. Because every one of us is in that condition. The idea is to become more aware of it. So while we are pursuing certain kind of happiness, it does not mean we should become oblivious to the actual situation. In fact, one of the best kinds of happiness is to go to sleep. Because in sleep, none of your problems exist. Death doesn't exist. Husband doesn't exist. Wife doesn't exist. Mother-in-law doesn't exist. Son-in-law, daughter-in-law doesn't exist. Boss doesn't exist. Assignment, project, nothing exists. So sleep is wonderful. But we cannot live our life just sleeping. So now, to even understand what is happiness, first you have to understand that there are grades of happiness. You have heard the phrase ignorance is bliss? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. So while ignorance is one level of bliss, there are other grades of happiness. So you find that a complete fool is also very happy. And a very knowledgeable person is also very happy. But you cannot say that both their happiness is the same. One might say, I am very ignorant, I am very blissful. Another person will say, I am fully knowledgeable, I am very blissful. Oh, both, what's the use? It is people like us who struggle in between because we are neither fully knowledgeable nor fully foolish. In between, we are the ones who are struggling, right? Trying to make a living and all that. So, happiness is actually according to the state of our consciousness. When our consciousness is very low, our happiness is also of that grade, very low. Let me give you an example. Most of us are from India. You have experience of a pig eating stool, correct? Pigs love stool. Now, when we look at it, we think, oh, that's so horrible. But for the pig, it's very tasty. That is because our consciousness as human beings is a little bit more evolved that we cannot find any taste in that kind of food. Or you find a cockroach, roaming around here and there into the dirty things, and we think, oh, yuck. But the cockroach is very happy. Why? Because its senses and mind are cultured, its consciousness is cultured to such a degree that that is happiness for him. So our Bhagavad Gita says that everything is categorized by three gunas or modes of nature. And tell me if you're familiar with these words. Sattva guna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Ever heard it? If you heard it, say yes.
Yes.
Okay. For those who have not heard, Tamoguna, Tama means dark. So Tamoguna is also one where we experience happiness but in very low grade. Rajoguna is happiness of medium grade. And Sattva-guna happiness is high grade. So it says that Tamoguna happiness is that which takes you into darkness. Any happiness of experience that takes you into darkness, such as sleeping, activities that are done in the dark, candlelight dinner, you don't know what you're eating. You know that joke, one restaurant was told, they asked him, why do you have so dim lights in your restaurant? And the manager said, that way people don't know what they're eating. Because if they see what they're eating, they will not touch it. The less the light, the better the food it is. Because you don't know what you're eating. That was the manager's joke. I'm not suggesting for you. Huh? But the point is, any happiness that takes you towards darkness. So, smoking, drinking, drugs, sleeping, these kinds of things, they take us towards darkness because you tend to close your eyes, you're not aware of darkness means not being aware of what's happening around. Then the second grade of happiness is happiness in Rajoguna. Oh, before we go there. So happiness in the mode of ignorance, what happens is in Tamoguna, the experience of certain kind of happiness is there, but the outcome, the consequence is destruction. One may smoke and think, oh, very nice, but the outcome is destruction. Alcohol, drugs, all of this is the outcome is severe destruction. We destroy our body, we destroy our mind, we destroy our surroundings, etc. The happiness in Rajoguna is where there is happiness in activity. You'll see people jogging, running, playing sports, things of that nature. It is very Rajoguna is all about activity, like high energy activity. Certain sports competition, people feel very happy for competing with another person. Now, competition makes them thrive. If they see someone else is winning, then they will put in extra effort, and the rush of adrenaline gives them the sense of achievement and happiness. Hmm. But what happens with mode of passion, or it's called mode of passion or Rajoguna happiness, is it makes a person selfish, because you cannot have two people winning, only one has to win and the other has to lose. So, Rajoguna, while there is an experience of happiness, it's not destructive, it makes a person selfish. Hmm. Now, in our schools and colleges, most of the sense of competition that we find is to get happiness from Rajoguna. You have to compete for interviews, you have to compete for grades, you have to compete for sports, everything is competing with others, because everyone cannot get it. Someone will get, someone will not get. Then the third grade of happiness is called happiness in Sattva Guna. And this happiness comes from knowledge, comes from awareness, it's light, it's enlightenment. Just as Tamoguna is dark and destructive, and just as Rajoguna is energizing but selfish, Sattva is enlightening. It helps see things in the right perspective. It brings it. Persons feel happy from a spirit of sharing, from doing things for others, from service, public service. Helping other people, helping the dolphins, helping the birds, helping conserve the environment, etc., etc. Saving the trees, etc. Sattva where the spirit, this is habit, where happiness not in such, but to a large degree selflessness. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Is the connection choppy?
It is a little bit.
Now it's fine.
Now it's fine.
Okay. Okay now?
Yes.
So in Sattva Guna, people like sharing. They like to do things for others. It's a spirit of selfless service unto others. Then above all these three, there is a completely different state of being, and that is called transcendence. Transcendence means, or transcendental, beyond the three modes, it's from the other world. And that's called the happiness of yoga or happiness of bhakti. That is higher than Tama, Rajas, and Sattva Guna. Because at the transcendence level, one is in contact with the ultimate source of happiness. Generally, it is said like if you are in a room and outside it is bright and sunny, 75 degrees temperature, perfect breeze, and nice calming wind, but you are inside the room, but you can see from your window. So that is called happiness in Sattva Guna, like that. You are not experiencing it, but you have a sense of what that feels like out there. But you can't experience it right now. But if you if you put the blinds on and you are playing video games, although there's very nice sunlight outside, then it's the happiness of Rajoguna. And if it's a perfectly sunny day, but you are in your sleeping bag or in your bed wanting to sleep, then that's the happiness of Tamoguna. It's just like that, where you turn off all the lights, but you can't experience the joy of being outside, for example. So transcendence or the joy of yoga is only possible by wanting to be there. And first order of business is to come to Sattva Guna lifestyle. With Sattva Guna lifestyle, we have a chance for happiness and transcendence. So, in our Vedic Vision Club, Vedic Vision Society, our discussions mostly are about how to live in Sattva Guna and how to attempt to try to understand what is that happiness of yoga, happiness of bhakti. That is our attempt. So, if you guys come along with us for the next how many ever weeks, we'll try to explore this together. Make sense? Guys want to give it a try?
Yes.
Any comments or questions? Any thoughts? How many of you are here for the very first time? Raise your hand. First time, you've just come from India, you've left India, you've come here for masters, and you came to Krishna House first time. One more time, could you raise your hand? Okay, about half. Others, there are some familiar faces. Those who are sitting far away, I can't exactly tell. But many familiar faces. Any questions, comments? No? Ready for dinner? Okay. Next time I'll be with you. At that time we'll have more time to interact with each other. But thank you. It was nice to see all of you. And those of you who've come for the first time, I guess welcome to Chicago and welcome to Krishna House. And we've been around IIT for many years, many of us here. If you need anything, let us know. If you need no roommates, you want to know what's where in Chicago, what places to go, what places to avoid, etc. Anyway, you're on IIT campus, you'll know very soon. That's the place to avoid anyway. And go to other places. If you want to know anything in Chicago, you need a ride to go somewhere, let us know. We're all here to help you, and we're all here to make your experience at IIT at least tolerable. Sure. Any questions, comments? Okay. If not, thank you. Thank you for coming. Please have dinner and go, and we'll meet you next week.